Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a whole new episode of Full Steam Ahead. I'm your host, Zoe. My partner in crime over there, I got Mr. Cantu on the other side.
How's it going? This is our 100th episode. That's pretty exciting. It's a pretty good milestone to reach.
100 episodes, dude. It's
That's
been it's been a journey for me, yourself included, our boy Will as well. I mean, we started this thing last year, last 2022, our first year. That was the first series against the Los Angeles Angels at Anaheim Stadium, actually. And I mean, 100 episodes. I mean, it's a big milestone for anybody that gets to 100 on a podcast. I'd say because when you start one, I mean, it could go good, it could go really great, or you could go downhill instead. And it's a big process. It's a long journey, but I mean, I'm glad we've stuck it out. I mean, there's some good days, there's some bad days, but that's life, really, right? I mean, if you really think about it. But I mean, since I'm saying about the good things. I mean, this episode is going to be the good, the bad, and the ugly. I mean, the good part about the Astros was that first game. I mean, they showed out. 12-2 was the final score of that game. There was a total of 5 home runs, one being a grand slam from Jordan Alvarez. And then the bad, of course, the second game. I mean, they just did not hit and they couldn't get nothing going. I think they had a total of 4 hits that game, and I mean they were shut out. But it gets worse, it gets uglier, and they got shut out the next day as well. I mean, back-to-back shutouts. That hasn't happened since last year in September 22nd to 23rd at Baltimore against the Orioles. So they went 1-2 against the Milwaukee Brewers. But Angel, what's going to be this one word for this series? I mean, the Astros haven't lost a series since that Seattle Mariners road trip over there. I mean, how would you describe this series by your one word?
I would say inconsistent. I think this series taught us two things. The first thing, we found out how great this Astros offense can be when everyone is contributing and firing on all cylinders. Like that first game was awesome for the Astros. They scored 12 runs, like you said. Everybody contributed. Guys got on base. Jordan Alvarez with that home run, but the big part, it wasn't only him.
Mhm.
We know, like we all know, Jordan Alvarez can hit. We know that he's going to be a big part for this Astros team. But the rest of the guys participated. The rest of the guys contributed. Now, in the past two games, when Jordan Alvarez is not on, someone else needs to step up. Like Jordan
Yeah.
Alvarez went 0 for 4 in the past two games against Milwaukee. And for example, in game two, Jordan Alvarez was on third. I think Bregman. I'm sorry, Jordan Alvarez was on second. Bregman on third. One out. Abreu comes up. Pena comes up. Both strike out in that situation. Like that's
Yeah.
tough. Like those are situations we need to put the ball in place. So again, just my big thing is guys need to step up when because when Jordan Alvarez is not doing well, because it's baseball. Like we just can't expect him to, like for example, basketball. You give it to your best player, expect him to drop 20. Now like baseball's like a different sport. Everybody has to take their turn. So my question to you is, who needs to step up in this offense to help Jordan and the Astros carry this team?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, even the third game too. I think Bregman and Mauricio Dubon, second and third situation with one out. Um, Correct counsel goes to his lefty, and everybody's like, "Oh gosh!" I mean, it's the lefty, and Jordan Alvarez. Jordan Alvarez has been doing pretty good. Alvarez strikes out. I mean, you got to pick him up somewhere, somehow. The next batter, and that was being Kyle Tucker, and Kyle Tucker has kind of struggled through these past games as well, and he lines out to center, and the Astros didn't get nothing out of that inning, but you ask who needs to step up in the offense. I think it still got to be Bregman. I think it still got to be Jose Abreu. Right now, Bregman, his last 7 games, he's batting 267, which isn't bad. 8 hits out of 30 at bats, 1 home run, 4 RBIs, and 2 walks. And then Jose Abreu. I mean, a lot of people have been bashing him. Even I think they had it on Twitter Tuesday on the broadcast with Bagwell on there because, of course, everybody's on social media talking about Bagwell bringing in Jose Abreu. I mean, if you would have told me in free agency that you wouldn't want Jose Abreu, I mean, you're crazy. This guy is a career batting average over 300.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was either him,
MVP.
MVP as well, Rookie of the Year, Silver Slugger awards. I mean, this guy has it all. I mean, if you look at the stats, he has a bigger upgrade advantage over Yuli Gurriel, who's Gurriel. I mean, Gurriel don't. No one knew that Gurriel was going to be hitting pretty well in this season with the Marlins. Give credit to him because I really wanted the Astros to sign him back But of course, you got to move on. You got to do what's best for the team and things like that. Nobody didn't think that was going to happen. And I don't even think any Astros fans thought Jose Abreu was going to be batting like this. It's the same thing with that Rafael Montero contract as well that we could go back with. But speaking of Jose Abreu, his last 7 games, I mean, 6 hits, 25 out of 6 hits out of 25 at bats, 1 RBI, 4 walks, 7 strikeouts, 240 batting average. Um, I mean, he has to step up as well. I think those two guys are the main ones, I'd say, because Tucker and Alvarez in that Oakland series, they did pretty well. I mean, they've been the guys too that's been getting that RBI production. If you look at the stats, I believe Alvarez is in the top 10. I want to say Kyle Tucker's flirting with that borderline of top 10 or just under the top 10 in RBI production. I mean, even Kyle Tucker's been doing good in his last 7 games, 346 batting average. I mean, it's just a lot of people just got to step up. And then plus, you got to have the guys on base when your RBI leaders are coming up to the plate. I mean, if Dubon or Altuve is not on base, or same thing with Bregman, I mean, how is 1 run? I mean, would you rather take 3 runs or 1 run? I mean, come on, that's obvious right there that you're going to want 3. So getting that production from the 1-2 hitters is going to be very important, as well as even the last part of the lineup. The last part of the lineup has done pretty well. I was telling you off air. I mean, Corey Jokes, I mean, 3 for 5 that first game. I mean, he had a home run as well. Maldonado didn't do bad. He has 5 game hitting streak or 6 game hitting streak as well. I'll double check on that real quick. But even Jake Myers too. I mean, he's been hitting the ball pretty decent as well, making that adjustment. The one player I want you to break down that could be a possible spark plug if they put him up in the batting order is Jeremy Pena.
Yeah, Jerry Pena definitely needs to step up, and I agree with you. I was going to mention that as well. You know, last year the Astros were in the same situation where Jerry Pena was struggling in that bottom of the order. They bring him up to the second, um, like second spot in the batting order, like to build some confidence, and he just took off from there. Now, hopefully they adjust or something because Pena does definitely need to step up. He hasn't had an RBI since the first game in Chicago, like against the Cubs. Sorry, not in Chicago, but against the Chicago Cubs. And the last time he hit a home run was against Philly, and that was late April. So he's almost gone a whole month without a home run, and he's gone almost close to 10 games without an RBI. Like
Mm-hmm.
those aren't numbers you want from your starting shortstop. But I agree with you. I think there has to be a change, and if the lineup can go Altuve, Pena, put Bregman back in his third spot, uh, Alvarez back in that fourth spot, Tucker in that fifth, Abreu in that sixth, like that's a pretty good looking lineup. And
Yeah.
we've seen how successful Pena has been in that number 2 spot. I would just say give it another shot. Like this offense like got shut out twice, so I
One of
know
the
it's
best offenses in MLB too.
for sure, for sure. Now all credit to that Milwaukee pitching staff; they did a great job,
Mm-hmm.
but the Astros are too good to be shut out twice. So I know it's not time for panic. I know we sound kind of panic, but it's not. But sometimes change is a good thing, and if like we tweak that lineup a little bit, I think it'll be beneficial for the Astros.
Yeah, so real quick, I mean, 31 games in that 6 hole, he's batting 235. Batting leadoff you remember in the beginning of the season, he was batting leadoff. And in 11 games, he has a 229 batting average. And then these 5 games that he's been in the leadoff, I mean, on the leadoff in the 2 hole, he's hitting over 350, which is pretty good. And that's with, if I could get the stat correctly, let me see. Sorry about the wait. 3 home runs, 4 RBIs.
There you go.
So I mean, maybe Dusty does need to tweak the lineup a little, and try to give that trust in Pena. Because if you think about it, if they do go back to that lineup, you go Altuve, Pena, Bregman, Alvarez. I don't know if Dusty wants to continue using the 2 lefties back to back, or you go Alvarez, Abreu, Tucker. And then from there, like I was saying, the bottom part of the lineup hasn't been bad. Corey Jokes has been doing pretty well. Jake Myers has made an adjustment. Martin Maldonado, like I was saying, I confirm he does have a 5 game hitting streak right now, and he's hitting 318 in his last 7 games. So it's really not the bottom part of the lineup that hasn't been doing bad. It's just like you were saying, that one word. I mean, big. It's inconsistency. The guys are being inconsistent. And there was, a lot of people on social media too were talking about, oh, well, when they score 10 plus runs, the next day you
Oh yeah,
already know they're going to lay a goose egg and things like that,
the
which,
curse.
yeah, and it's happened since last year. They did that last year. They'd score 10 plus runs and then next day they just lay a goose egg. So, like you were saying, I mean, it was very inconsistent from the offense. Somebody has to step up, but hopefully, maybe Dusty does go back with Jerry Pena, and he kind of looks at the stats like, well, in these 5 games, Pena has been doing pretty well. Let's put him back into that spot and get him kind of comfortable with it, because I think that's still. I mean, that was your World Series lineup right there. You had Altuve, Pena, Bregman, Alvarez. 1 through 4. I mean, that's a good lineup, and that's how the Astros were in the postseason. I mean, they were very successful. They were swept the Mariners. They swept the Yankees. They were down 2 games to Philly, but Jeremy Pena still won the ALCS MVP, and he still won the World Series MVP to top it off. So maybe that adjustment, like you were saying, maybe putting Pena back in that two hole could really help the Astros and maybe help Pena's confidence as well. Because right now, I mean, credit to Bregman what he's been doing. Credit to Dubon as well. I mean, them guys have been doing well, but maybe putting Pena in that two hole, bringing down Bregman to that three hole like he used to be, could change the lineup. I think.
Oh yeah, and then having a Brady in that 6 hole, I think it gives Caltech a little bit more RBI opportunities because how we've been seeing is these past 2 games, like we've been giving RBI opportunities like with 1 or 2 outs to Abreu and Pena, and they've been struggling. So now if we bump Tucker, a little bit down, that's his spot to get those RBI opportunities. So, and I agree with you. Hopefully they change something, but well, I mean we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. But I mean, they're going to go against Oakland, which the Astros have faced Oakland already. But before we get to that preview, we got to give our shout outs. I
For
mean,
sure, for sure.
it was very, like I said, good, bad, ugly. But you still got to take some pros out of it. My first shout out is going to go to Mauricio Dubon
Of course.
and Altuve. Passing Jose Cruz for third in Astros franchise history with hits. He only played that 1 game. The next day, he was feeling sick. So who steps up? Mauricio Dubon. Dubon hits a home run in that first game when everybody was hitting a bunch of home runs in Wisconsin, and then I mean just taking over too as well. I mean he's going to be ready. He even said in his in the with the media when they were asking, well, what's next for you? Are you going to be coming off the bench? How comfortable are you being in that bench? You're going to come in that super utility role like you led Miss Diaz. I mean, how comfortable are you? And Tubon just said it, pretty simple. Whenever they need me, I'm ready. And sure enough, they're ready. He continues to produce in that leadoff spot. So I got to give a shout out to him. And then Jordan Alvarez as well. I mean, this guy had a historic night that first game. I think it was 14 career multi homer games. Overall in the series, he was 3 for 13 with 2 home runs, 5 RBIs, 3 runs. One of them home runs was a grand slam and against a lefty. So continue throwing them lefties against Jordan Alvarez because it's not going to matter. And Cantu, how about you? What are your 2 shout outs?
You know what? You were hyping him up earlier for stepping up in the bottom of the lineup. Give me Martin Maldonado. He
Mm-hmm.
went 3 for 6, 500, one home
Yeah,
run, 2 runs, 1 RBI. Now, interesting fact. I don't know if you were like if if the viewers out there were able to hear this, but Martin Maldonado becomes the 69th player in Major League history to homer against all 30 clubs. And interesting fact. This is from Sarah Lang's according to her, it says he's only the 5th player to do this feat with under 100 home runs in their pocket. And
nice.
Martin Maldonado is actually at 99 home runs. So the next time he hits a home run will be
One
career
more.
100. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's
all.
a big milestone.
For sure, for sure. For any player, I mean, 'cause, like again, it's hard to hit in this league. And then for like for the guys who can hit 100 home runs, that's definitely a big step in the right direction. But give me the El Reptil, Christian Javier. 6 innings pitched, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. He looked like the Christian Javier of old, vintage Javier for sure. He lowered his ERA to 3.07, which is right now that's like Cy Young numbers right now. Like
Yeah.
that's that's pretty good. That was his 6th quality start of the season, and now I think he's the leader in wins with going 5-1. And so I mean, he pitched great. It was well needed because if Christian Javier doesn't pitch well and this offense doesn't go out, there's a possibility get the Astros get swept.
Yep.
So he came up big, and he will pitch again in Oakland. Like I feel that's a quick turnaround, but you know, you'll talk about that in a bit. But some injury news: Jose Altuve out again, as you know. He left the game. He left game two of Milwaukee in the Milwaukee series due to him being sick. Now this is coming from Bagwell. He said this in the broadcast about Altuve, and I quote: "He was a little dizzy, but he's fine. Maybe a little dehydrated. He was trying to hydrate last night after the game." So it could have been, it's hot out there. He's still trying to get his reps in, still coming back from an injury. It's probably just more like, you know, it could be just that. I mean, maybe he had the runs and he's trying to like hide it, or, maybe he was actually getting dehydrated. I don't know. But my question to you is, do you think we see Altuve back against Oakland?
Yeah, I think so. I think we do see him. He had the day off yesterday, and of course, this off day on Thursday. That gives him plenty of time to rehydrate or anything like which is very difficult for me to process through my head because I mean you play in Houston, Texas, which is 90 degrees as soon as you step outside. Even on the concrete, it's probably over 100. And you're going to Milwaukee, which is that's up north. That's really not southern temperature, especially with the humidity down here. Of course, we play in the indoor stadium, but Milwaukee does as well. I don't know if that second game, if the roof was closed in American Family Field, which I still can't believe that's what it's called. It should be called Miller Park.
Yeah.
But nah, I think we could see him in Oakland. I highly doubt he'll miss out. Which, I mean, like I said, it gives him plenty of days to rehydrate if that's what Baggy said. Yeah, nah, I think that's my opinion. I don't know what you think about it.
No, I agree with you 100%. I think we do see him back. Um, in the lineup against Oakland, and hopefully he breaks a lot more records. I know I know you were saying that he beat Jose Cruz's all-time hit records for the Astros, and I'm sure he's coming after Bagwell, who's next on that list.
Yeah, I think he gets up to Bagwell. It's gonna be pretty close with Biggio. I'm really pulling for him to get to 3,000, man. I'm really hoping just if he's healthy, like Enrique said last episode, he's gonna be a hit into that 3,000 club. But the preview against the Oakland Athletics, which I mean, if you think about it, we just did 2 episodes ago about the preview against them, but now it's another preview. But this time the Astros are going to the West Coast to take on the Oakland Athletics in the Bay Area. And of course, the A's haven't been doing really well this year. Everybody, it's not a secret that you should know that by now. Last place in the AL West with a record of 10-40. I believe that's the worst record right now in Major League Baseball in 2023. They are 1-9 in their last 10 games. They have only won one game. Crazy. But like you said, they will put up a fight no matter what.
Well, they might. I'm sorry to interrupt because, like, as we're recording, Seattle and the A's are playing right now, and they might go 0-10 in the last 10 games just to.
So it could be 10-41 by the time you see your phones, ladies and gentlemen. But they were swept by the Astros, of course, last week. And Friday nights, it's one of the best. The weekends. It's always fun for the Astros. They love playing on the weekends. But 8:40 start time in Houston. Hunter Brown will be on the mound for your Astros, 4-1 with a 3.20 ERA. He'll be going against James Kaperline with an 0-4 record and an 8.68 ERA.
Yikes.
Yes, very yikes. Hunter Brown, though, has been excellent. His back-to-back starts against Oakland. His last outing versus the A's, he was 6 innings pitched, 5 hits, 2 runs, 1 being earned, no walks, 9 strikeouts. So when you hear no walks, that's pretty good, especially that command. I think it was probably one of his best games since the Tampa Bay game at the Trop. Like I was saying, command was there. I mean, it was working for him. Fastball was hitting over 95. Slider was cutting at the right location area. So if he continues to do that, I see no problem doing another great start against the Oakland Athletics. But you have Kaepernick on the other side for the A's going on the mound for them. His last outing was against Houston. 5 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 4 walks, 5 strikeouts. That sounds like a decent outing. When you hear 4 walks, that's what you not want to hear if you're an A's fan, because it's just giving them other team more opportunities to have some scoring, runs. Altuve was the only one to get success off of him with the RBI single. But the Astros were held to 5 hits total during that whole game, and 3 only coming off of James. And I dove a little deeper. Through 82 pitches that game, 34 four-seamers, 32 sliders, 12 sinkers, 3 curves, 1 change. So more than likely, we're going to see the fastball. and the slider come into mix. His four seamer was averaging about 92.1 in the last start against Houston, and the same thing as the slider was about 80.4 in his average. So, Angel, what are the Astros are going to have to do differently? From his last start. I mean, they were held to 3 hits. What are you thinking on the scouting report for this matchup against them?
I'd say pick and choose. Like he did allow 4 walks. Just be patient. Wait for your pitch to come into the zone, and then just like I always say, take advantage of those mistakes. Again, these are major league pitchers, so they know how to pinpoint their location. But sometimes they do make mistakes. Be patient on the plate. Wait for your pitch, and then we'll take advantage of mistakes. I would say.
Definitely. If you take advantage of mistakes, you're more than likely going to take this guy out of the ball game, especially if he continues to give up 3+ or 4+ walks and you're just hitting off of him. There's a great possibility that the Astros will take him out in that third inning. But Saturday's matchup, you got the franchise 3:07 start time. Framber Valdez is 4-4. He caught up. You remember we are talking about? He was 2-4. Now he has 4 wins. So a good thing for him. 2.45 ERA, which is really fantastic for him. And the A's don't have a pitcher yet. It hasn't been determined who the Astros will face on that other side. But let's talk about Framber Valdez. His last outing versus Oakland, 9 innings pitched, 4 hits, 0 earned runs, 0 walks, 9 strikeouts. I mean, that is what is called a gem. Not a gem,
Definitely.
a gym. But another brilliant start against the A's from Framber. If you look at his stats from last year, I have read it off from that Oakland A's preview we did 2 episodes ago. He's he's had success against them. 9 innings, 8 innings, 6 innings, and then 9 innings again. So, Angel, I already talked about the innings. How many innings do you expect Framber going around this time against the A's?
You know what? Give me another 9. No, I'm just
Another
kidding.
9.
Realistically, I say 6. 6 or
6.
more. I think he gets that quality start again, and he. I didn't really dive deep into his stats, but he's been throwing a lot of sinkers, so I think he'll probably change that. So in the previous game, he threw a lot more curveballs and then sinkers. I think he'll just flip flop those to get them a little bit more off guard, and not because I'm sure they've seen the scouting report, so maybe we might see a lot more curveballs or sinkers this game.
Yeah, I mean, even possibility we'll see some cutters as well thrown in there because this year he's been throwing the cutter a lot more often, and it's been real huge success for him. So the other side, you have his partner in crime, like me and you, partner in crime. Sunday, 3:07 start time. You got Christian Javier and the other Dominican brother, 5-1, 3.07 ERA versus Luis Medina, 0-3 with a 6.45 ERA. I mean, these A's pitchers right now, my gosh, these ERAs are really high, and that's not what you want to hear. If you're a Nationals fan, you really love to hear things like that. But Christian Javier, his last outing at Milwaukee, I mean, it was very good, like you were saying in the shoutouts, Angel. He pitched really fantastic, 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. His last outing versus the Oakland A's was in September of 2022. He has yet to face them this year. 6 innings pitched, 1 hit, no earned runs, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts. And he hasn't really done bad against the Oakland Athletics in his last season in 2022. I mean, in 3 starts, he was 1-1 with a 2.40 ERA. Combine those numbers, you have a 15 innings pitched, 10 hits, 4 earned runs, 8 walks, 15 strikeouts. I highly doubt we'll see him walk a lot more from last season to now because, I feel like the location has been better for him. His command has been better as well. So hopefully it goes all well for Javier, that he doesn't lose that command and just continues to be dominating like he's been doing for the month of May. And on the other side, you got Luis Medina, and this guy is a rookie. He just made his season debut this year in the big leagues. 24-year-old rookie, last outing at Seattle, 5 1/3, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. And how are you going to welcome a rookie into the league? Giving up a lot of the long balls and just giving up so many runs. Like I was saying, he loves to give up the long ball. 3 of his 4 starts, he has given up multi-homer games. So meaning 2+ home runs each game. That's not good. But like I said, if you're an Astros fan, you'd love to hear that because you got a guy like Yordan Alvarez, Alex Bregman, Kyle Tucker, possibility, Jose Abreu, maybe.
Yeah, I was about to say. So you're saying Jose Abreu has a chance?
So there's a chance. I'm thinking of Dumb and Dumber with Jim Carrey. So you think there's a chance? There could be a chance for this man. And like I was saying, I mean, it hasn't been really well for this rookie. He has given up 3+ earned runs in his 4 starts. Each start, the one being most of them was his major league debut. He gave up 7 earned runs. Not what you like to hear from a rookie like that. But he has a 4 pitch arsenal. We'll talk about it. He throws a 4 seam fastball, a slider, a curve, and a changeup. 2 pitches that he loves throwing more than anything, but really the number one pitch he loves is the 4 seamer, 54.1%. Averages about 95.8 plus. Everything he has thrown in that 4 seamer has been down the middle. Everything just right there. Maybe that's why he has a high ERA, because if you're going to throw 4 seamers just right there, I mean, it's just BP for these guys. I mean, you're going against a bunch of veterans. So maybe that's why he has a high ERA. And then the slider, you got 22.3% of the time, 85.3 average of it. Throws low and middle to both hitters, being the left-handed or the right-handed hitter. But when it comes to right-handed hitters, he's going to be throwing low and outside of the zone. I'm not even going to say his name, but yes, loves to throw that ball low and outside the zone. So players are just going to have to adjust to it. Of course, being a rookie, it's going to be the first time the Astros see this guy. They'll probably have to look at the scouting report from, his AAA starts, his AA starts, things like that to get prepared. But some rookies do have success against the Astros, like Bryce Miller, for instance. He did really well with Seattle, his first MLB. I think it was his second MLB
Yeah,
start.
second.
So he did really well against them. So you never know. But another interesting stat I saw: the third time through the order, he really struggles bad. I mean, the first time, the second time, it's not that bad, but the third time, I mean, it's horrendous. Oh my god, he has a 16.20 ERA, 7 hits, 9 earned runs, opponent batting average of 318. So if we get him to that third time of the lineup, he's done. I mean, just reading them stats, 9 earned runs. I mean, that's pretty bad, and he's only made 4 starts. So it could be a possibility if the Astros lineup could get him into the third go around. Game over. Go into that bullpen.
So what you're saying is we should let him cruise into that
Yes,
third time around the lineup.
basically. I mean, you if you could continue doing good against the first and second part of the lineup, nothing worried about that. But the third part, he. I mean, the numbers show right there. He hasn't been doing really well.
Yeah, pitching hasn't been very good for the Athletics at all. But you
No.
know, again, how we said these guys are gonna battle. But now it's time for our offensive pitching MVP and hot take. I feel like this episode's flying by, but maybe that's what the fans want. But here is what it is. So Belak had a good start, but he didn't get the win. Astros offense did not out hit the Brewers. The Brewers were out hit. It wasn't close. And then Altuve obviously had to leave the game. So I guess go ahead.
Can I add something?
For sure.
Belak does not get no run support, period. And that's another thing I
Yeah.
didn't even get to start off when we're talking about the beginning of the episode. I mean, this guy never gets no run support from the Astros. It's been bad. I mean, the only one he had really gotten was against the
Last time.
Athletics.
Yeah.
So I feel for Brandon Belak, man. I really feel for him.
Yeah, like that was like Justin Verlander like 2 years, like a few years back, where he would pitch his great
Exactly.
games and then no run support. But here are our new MVPs. I feel like for me, my offensive MVPs, I usually pick the top of the order. You know what? Let's show some bottom of the order some love. Give me some Jake the Rake Myers
Yes.
as my MVP for offense. I mean, he's been pretty when he's on the field. He's been doing pretty good. I know he's platooning with McCormick, but when he's been on the field, he's been contributing mightily. So let's stay hot. He's my offensive MVP, and I can never not vote for my guy Christian Javier. Like I gotta go with him every time I've picked him. I know Cruz got him last week, but
We win.
every time I picked him, he's been great. So let's keep that trend going. And then my hot take is the Astros sweep the A's again, and now I know the A's have been not very good, but that's always hard to do against a Major League Baseball team. So I would say Astros sweep the A's again.
I
Go
could
ahead,
see
Zoe.
that. I could really see that. Jake Myers just to touch on him, I mean, he's been batting pretty well. He made an adjustment. I think Chandler Rome had an article about his adjustment on the Athletics. So if you haven't checked that out, I mean, go check it out. It's a really interesting story about the adjustment he had made. I think it was with the leg kick, I believe. But I mean, last 7 games, he's been hitting 333. So if he continues to hit like that, there's no matter what, he's going to be in that lineup. I if I'm the manager at least. So, I mean, Dusty, of course, you want to be able to give that platoon some, some games, Chas McCormick some games, but Jake Myers continues to hit. Let that rake of his continue on, man. But
For sure, for sure.
uh let's read Enrique's real quick. Enrique had Martin Maldonado, which I mean, Angel, you gave him a shout out. He did magnificent. Going, I mean, he started his career in Milwaukee as well. If anybody did not know that, he started his career with the Brewers. He had Christian Javier, like you were saying, as his pitching MVP, and Jose Abreu goes deep.
I guess he's not that lucky like the rest of us.
Nope, 2 for 3. He did not help right there. It could have been a perfect 3 for 3 if he did not pick. If Abreu would have hit a home run, it would have been perfect. But if he would have chosen another hot take, it could have been something different. But my old MVPs from that series, I had Kyle Tucker, which Kyle Tucker really struggled at the plate, I believe, against this Brewers pitching staff. JP France, I got to give it to him. He did pretty well. I mean, it was his career high in strikeouts. He did really good, I believe, giving up only 1 earned run, 2 runs, I believe, in his stat line. And the Astros will hit 1 home run in each game was my hot take.
Okay.
They hit 5 home runs in freaking one game, but they couldn't hit a home run in each game.
Yeah,
So let's spread that at least.
yeah. They wasted all their runs and home runs in that first game. After that, they just blinked.
Yeah, Mauricio Dubon getting his first home run of the season. Corey Jokes, Martin Maldonado, and 2 home runs coming from Martin Maldonado. But let's go. It's the weekend, baby.
Jordan.
Oh yeah, that's what I meant. Jordan. But it's the new weekend, baby. Let's do it. This is gonna be the new ones. Jordan Alvarez. I feel like whenever Alvarez goes to Ricky Henderson Field or the Oakland Coliseum, whatever you want to call that field now, I feel like he does damage over there. I feel like he hits that ball all the way to the batter's eye. I feel like he hits it to the second deck over there where the Oakland A's drummers usually are, but I don't know if they're in right field anymore. I saw something, I believe Tony Kemp had said that they're like doing a protest with selling the team and things like that. So we're getting off topic, but Jordan Alvarez, I think he's going to have a successful and continue on. He was a shout out of this series. I think it's going to be another shout out coming into the A series. Pitching MVP, I got to go with the franchise. He's been pitching very well against the Athletics, like I read the other 2 episodes ago, I meant. And I feel like you're saying, I think it's going to be another quality start for him. And then my hot take, bullpen does not give up any earned runs, 0 earned runs, meaning from the Staneks, from the Seth Martinez's, from the Rafael Monteros, Neris, Abreu, Presley, Maton. I don't think none of those guys give up an earned run this series against the A's, which I could be possibly wrong, but with the ways the A's are hitting right now, and like you were saying, they might be going 0 for 10 in their last 10 games. I could see the bullpen not giving up any earned runs this coming series.
You know who's exciting to see in the Athletics? That Reese guy. Like he has already, I think he has about 25 stolen bases already.
No way.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you want to give us that update since you have him on your fantasy? Is this another fantasy breaking news?
No.
We're gonna have to make a segment about fantasy breaking news with Angel Cantu because you always, I kid you not, you always bring one of your players into the mix.
Well, it's because they play. It got me thinking because when you said Ricky Henderson Field, it is 25. I just checked.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
See,
No,
you
no,
had
no,
that
no.
ready.
No. I just checked right now, but it's because when you said Ricky Henderson Field, I was thinking, what is the most stolen bases in the stolen in one season?
Mhm.
Like especially with these expanded bases, like he already has 25. And he came into the league late. Like he didn't even start opening day. He was promoted I think 2-3 weeks into the season.
Uh-huh.
So that's and then when he was at Minute Maid Park, I know the fans out there saw how smoothly he just steals those bases. I think one was third and there was no throw, like because he had it stolen. So it's just like it's pretty crazy.
I know. I'm about to check right now. Who has it? Does Ricky Henderson have that? I feel like
I'm
Ricky
sure.
Henderson,
I'm sure it is.
or it could be either him or Lou Brock, which Lou Brock was one of the best base running stealers in the game. I'm not too sure. It's either him or Brock. I know that it says somewhere right here on the MLB. Steals the record 1982 of 118 steals. I don't. Oh, in a season. So
Yeah,
it is Ricky Henderson. I don't know if it's 118 though, but it has to be Ricky. Which I mean, Ricky Henderson is one of the most athletic human beings you will ever see on a baseball field.
so
Period.
okay, so I'm at Baseball Reference right now. So in like modern day baseball, it's Ricky Henderson with 130, and that was 1982. But in 1887, it was Hugh Nickel who stole 138 bases in the season. So it just depends how you look at baseball back then to the
I
modern
mean, the
day.
bases could have been
Yeah,
larger. The bases, the distance of the bases could have been like 30 feet.
and he was 29, so I guess like Hugh Nickel when he did that. So I guess the competition back then. But Ricky Henderson was 23, right in his prime when he did it. But it just got me thinking because again, he's already at 25. Started the season kind of like late,
Mhm.
and he's been. I think he's been averaging like a stolen base every game almost. Like
Yeah, I mean, because where are we going to be in the end of May going into June? You already have 25 stolen bases. That's crazy.
yeah,
Yeah, he could have. I think he'll finish over 60. And
yeah,
after when the season ends, I think it's over 60,
I think so.
especially with the bases being larger and things like that. And now Ricky, I mean, like I said, Ricky Henderson's, I mean, that guy's athletic as it comes, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, he's a freak when it comes onto the base path. But I mean, that's why too he has a stadium named after him. I think it's called Ricky Henderson Field or Ricky
Yeah,
Henderson Stadium, one of those. But yeah, I mean, that's a good stat to read.
no, for sure. But now it's time to move on to around the league, and we got some AL West drama. So my question to you is: are the Texas Rangers for real? The reason is because Nathaniel Lowe says, he said in an interview that it's our, and I quote, our division to lose. They said the Rangers because let me read some background on this. So he was being interviewed, and he was kind of upset that before the spring training even started, everybody was saying that this is the Astros division. The Astros are going to win it again. The Astros are going to be at top, right? So he's basically saying, "Wait, what about the Rangers?" And now that they're in first place, they're playing well. That's basically what he said. It's our division to lose, but the Rangers have had one of the easiest schedules so far, and it's only getting harder. So what is your take on this? Do you agree with Nathaniel Lowe? Is it their division to lose, or are the Astros still the best in the West?
The Astros are still the best in the West. It's simple, and that's being unbiased. I mean, the Astros have won the West division since 17. I think they only lost it that one time in 2020, that COVID year, and that was a short season. That was a 60 game season, and we had talked about the Astros start slow, regardless. I mean, it could be in the mid part of the season, it could be the first beginning, it could be the end of the season, and they'll start off slow if the season started in August, or they're not going to be a team to start quick. And the Angels were like that last year. Joe Madden had said something about like, "Oh, well, we're number one right now, and then we're playing pretty good baseball and all this other stuff." And next thing you know, they fell off the wagon. I think the same thing, like you were saying with the schedule too. The Rangers have been playing easy opponents, and their division, not division, but the schedule is getting a little harder and harder. Then they're going to run into some trouble. But the Astros have a hard. I think they have one of the top 5 or top 8 hardest schedules this year, and that was without Jose Altuve for being the first part of the season. That was a Mauricio Dubon hitting 300. You still don't have Michael Brantley. You still have not seen the success that everybody wants to see from Jose Abreu. Alex Bregman still hasn't hit the ball like 2019 and even last year's Alex Bregman. Astros have been winning the West Division for a good while. They have gone to 6 straight ALCS appearances. They've gone to 4 World Series and winning 2 of them. Um, no, I mean, it's so simple. I mean, the Astros have been the best in the division and really the best in the American League. And like I said, this is being unbiased and things like that. It's just the Astros are a good team. They have depth. They have the pitching. They got the hitting. That's what you need to be a successful baseball franchise. And
Right.
that's what they've been doing for a good while in these 6 or 7 years. And right now, apparently, it's the golden era of the Astros franchise.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. But I do want to shout out that Texas Ranger offense because I mean they're putting up
Yeah,
numbers.
yeah.
They're
Give them credit. Yeah,
yeah,
give them credit. Like I said,
yeah,
Nolas Garcia is having a good season so far.
yeah. I think like team rankings. I wrote this in the power rankings for our Skina. Like like they're in first in many offensive categories. Like I believe runs scored and RBIs, and Adolis Garcia has been a good like a huge part, but so has Marcus Simeon, like those big contract guys. But
Mhm.
I agree with you that this is the Astros division. Again, unbiased opinion. They just shown, and they haven't been 100% like you were saying. They're like you mentioned the offense not being at 100% or not living up to the potential. But what about the pitching too? Like that's
Mhm.
guys without McCullers and um
Yeah.
Urquidy got hurt, and then this
Garcia, Tommy John.
Garcia. So we're like so they're relying on rookies and you know like guys like Belek who haven't really been like consistent
The names that you wouldn't even hear.
for sure.
Period. I mean, you would. I mean, who would have thought JP France? Which last year he was pitching really well, and I knew if an injury would happen this year with one of our starters, which sadly it did, and knocking on wood, there's nothing going to happen later on in the future. I knew he was going to be the first guy over Forrest Whitley. Because nothing against Forrest Whitley either, but JP France has been pitching well, and when you're pitching well, you're going to get a call up soon.
Yeah,
And like you were saying, Brandon Belak has been doing really well in these past games, only giving up 2 earned runs. Yes, the outing against the Brewers, it was 4, but he was still pitching a good game. You cannot give that away from him. Hunter Brown, another one, 3.07 ERA right now, 4-1 record. I mean, he's doing really well. And that's like you were saying, without Urquidy, without Garcia, Lance McCullers Jr. still on the IL. But with the Rangers, too, that we didn't even get to mention, they're always dealing with some type of injuries. And when you're not healthy, you're going to have to figure out, well, how we're going to win some games. Jacob DeGrom is their number one guy that they're going to be relying on in their starting rotation right now. He's been in and out, and I think right now he's still dealing with the injury too. Corey Seager, if that bat's not in that lineup, it could be a little hurtful and downgrade in the offense numbers. And I told you this off air. If Adolis Garcia is not in that lineup, or if he starts not hitting well, everything's going to go downhill for that lineup, I think. The same thing with I think Ezekiel Duran is his name with the Rangers. I'm
yeah,
not 100% his name,
it
but I
is.
know his last name is Duran. He's been hitting the ball very well for them. You just got to, I mean, it's like Dusty has always said, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. It's a distance. It's 160 something games. Yes, you're having success right now, but you got to wait till we get to the middle part of the season, and you got to get to when we get to that ending part of the season, which the Astros really do well when it gets to August and September, even the warmer months of summer.
Yeah, and with all that being said, the Astros are only 3 games back.
Yeah.
With all those injuries, with the tougher schedule, with not playing well, and we're only like they're only 3 games back, so that's a good sign moving forward. But going to the Braves and Dodgers, we had some NL rivalry, not rivalries, but some drama going on as well.
Or you could say rivalry because they've been in the postseason
Yeah.
multiple times. They face.
All right. So Marcel Ozuna has been stirring up something. He has a history of hitting catches in the backswing. Like he has this long swing where he just like overextends, um, much more than necessary. And Will Smith was already in the concussion protocol for that series, and then he gets hit again. He doesn't take much liking to that, and then now on Wednesday he hits a home run against the Dodgers, and on the backswing it hits the catcher again. It wasn't as hard as the first time around, but he still clips the catcher's mask. Now again, him like it's not the first time it happened. Like it's been
Mm-hmm.
happening for a while now. So you think should MLB intervene? Like what should they do? Because again, catchers can stand a little bit back when they go against them, but they're trying to like
Give
reset.
them some room.
Yeah, but they're trying to but like when they catch the ball, like they're trying to give the umpire like the best way to call a strike. So like when they're
The
framing a
ankle.
pitch, or like when it's a curveball, if they're catching it more on like if they're scooting more back and they're catching like it might be a ball because they're catching it lower compared to catching like closer to the plate. So should
Mm-hmm.
MLB intervene in that scenario?
I think so. I mean, if it's been a history of him having, hitting a lot of catchers in the head, and like I think I would have. I didn't know Will Smith had a concussion, and I was saying this like, okay, well, why is Will Smith complaining about his backswing? And I didn't know that he had a concussion, but now when you hear the history and things like that, you're kind of like, well, if I was in Will Smith's shoes, I think I'd be a little upset too. And there's a picture out. I think there was a picture that was shown that Marcell Ozuna's right leg in the batter's box was outside of the white box
Yeah.
where batters are supposed to be standing in. So yes, I think MLB should intervene in that part, and I don't know what the consequence would be, but being able for the umpire too, for himself to see, okay, Ozuna's leg is out of the box. Hey, scoot up a little. To prevent these concussions and to prevent, the future cat. I mean, because catchers are already getting beaten up already. It's blocking the ball, taking a foul ball off the mask or off the arm or off the leg, off the guards. I mean, yeah, you got to protect the catchers in this game because Buster Posey, for instance, he was one of the best, and he had to cut his career off due to injuries. But I mean, what's your take on it?
I mean, I would say so. I mean, once, in a blue moon, could be an accident, but consistently but that's too much. Like,
Hmm.
he's a major league player. There's no reason for him to be having such a long swing. I mean, there's a reason why he's batting 200 because he's not making adjustments, trying to hit the ball like out of the park every single time.
Hmm.
Whereas if he cuts his swing short, puts the ball more in play. Now, I mean, like when it gets kind of hard to teach an old dog new tricks, right? But
Yeah.
again, he's a professional, and I think that swing does need to be cut down just for the catcher safety as well, because I mean that shouldn't happen as often. But speaking of potential injuries or injuries, like a former Astro, a former first round pick, and a former Astros, I would say legend because he did step up in the postseason. Carlos Correa is hurt. Now this is let's reverse back. The Giants and the Mets were going to sign Correa. They had something in place. The contract was getting written up, but then he had his physical. They decided not to because they saw something in his leg, and now the Twins' nightmare is coming true. So Carlos Correa has been day to day with a bruising and inflammation on his left heel since May 23rd. I think it's that same foot that came out in the physicals
Hmm.
that eliminated the Giants and the Mets from signing Correa. And the Twins were like, all right, we're going to deal with it. Maybe it's a long term issue, but no, it's a this year issue. Twins manager Rocco Baldelli said prior to Wednesday's game that Correa is dealing with a muscle strain in the arch of his left foot, in addition to a plantar that's a
Fasciitis.
fasciitis. I know you were a public health major. I know you probably knew that one. I was not gonna get that word.
And that was a tongue twister for you.
Yeah, for sure. So plantar fasciitis in the heel. John Scipio of the St. Paul Press. That's according to him. And then Baldelli said, we get to Friday. I think we get to Friday, and some of our decisions might be made for us." So again, he's day to day. We'll see how that plays out. But again, that I believe that is the same foot that was that came up in the physical.
Hmm. Yeah, that's crazy too because now the Twins are there and now. And you saw that in the baseball winter meetings and free agency, like where's Carlos Correa gonna go? He opted out of the contract with the Twins. San Francisco was the first destination. Doctor told them, "Hey, this ain't right. I think if you sign this guy to this deal, there's gonna be some problems in the future." Goes to the Mets. Steve Cohen didn't care because he wants to win. Goes to the physical, same thing. So it wasn't even the same doctor. It was a different doctor. Told Cohen what the doctor said to the Giants. Same thing here. Hey, I don't know if you want to sign this guy to this contract. He has a history of being hurt, and especially with the foot injury from way back then. Before he even got to the Astros. I don't know. You might want to rethink about it. Gets off the Mets. Next thing you know, Twins come knocking at the door. You know what, Correa? We'll bring you back in. We loved you being here in Minnesota, and I think you're going to be, the guy to, make the organization better. Sure enough, I mean they did, and to me personally, I thought it was a good for the Twins because you would only have Byron Buxton, who you need somebody that's going to be a leader and a vocal point in that lineup and in the clubhouse, and Correa is that guy. But now you're dealing with that injured foot, which I mean that was like I was saying, it was going through the whole offseason, dealing with plantar fasciitis, and now and his left foot being bruised and inflammation. That's not good news you want to hear as a Twins fan, and it could possibly be on the 10-day IL. So it's unfortunate because Astro fans here they love Correa. I mean they don't want nothing bad for Correa, nothing to happen to him, especially he's supposed to be coming in next week. That
Yeah.
the Twins are coming to Houston after that Oakland series. So we'll see if Correa is going to be in that lineup or he's going to be on the IL. And I mean, I remember one game I was there when George Springer came into Houston for the first time and he was on the IL. So it would be unfortunate, but at the same time too, you want to make your players, you want to have your players healthy at the end of the season because there's a lot of baseball left. But that is all for tonight's show. 100th episode, like I said, and like Angel said, it's a huge milestone for FSA Full Steam Ahead. I know Will too is very excited for this 100th episode, even though he's not here, he's with us because I could feel it. I could hear him in my
In
ear already.
spirit.
In spirit, but and he's not up there. He's not up there, but yeah, I mean that's my boy Will. I mean we started this thing up, and Angel come along, continue it on. But that is it for our show. Continue to follow us at Full Steam Ahead on Twitter and on TikTok. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're almost to 20 subscribers, I meant, which is not bad. It's a start. Hey, we'd like to expand that a little bit more, though. We'd like to get to 100 by the end of the season. It'd be a real big accomplishment. Like with this 100th episode, we'd like to get 100 subscribers by the end of the season. On our platforms, you can continue to hear us at Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. But, Angel, you got anything else before we sign off, man?
No, thank you for listening us. Get those subscribers. Zoe and I are putting some content out on TikTok. Zoe interviewed JP France about his best mustaches. That was must see TV.
That was legend. Yeah, if
yeah,
you haven't seen that, you got to go see that. That was very cool to be able to do that.
Yeah, so we're here for you to provide you the best Astros content. So thank you.
Yeah, and then look out. It's the 100th episode. You already know we got to give out a giveaway for everybody that's been going through with us, through the ups, through the downs, through the highs, through the lows. So look out. There will be a giveaway today, tomorrow. Be able to be out there, retweet it, like it, and you already know how it goes. But we will talk. Well, we will actually not talk to y'all next weekend. We'll be off on that weekend.
Tell them why, Zoe. Tell them why, Zoe. It's important.
Yes, I will be getting married on this Saturday, May 27th. So yeah. Thank you, Angel. Thank you, everybody else. If you were, if you want to send me a, congrats and everything like that. And I appreciate you, being able to listen to us at this Full Steam Ahead thing. But congrats. I mean, the thank yous from, getting married. It's a big thing. And me and my lady, it's a big thing for us. But till then, we will let y'all know when we will talk to you again. But till then, guys, stay safe out there. Have a great weekend. Be safe. Go Stros.
Go Stros.